Hi guys. Today we're going to try this out. Armour Trim Plus Premium Trim Coating. So the instructions say to clean it with an APC. I'm using Maniac APC here because I'm testing the Maniac line and because I've already tested Armour's APC. This is diluted 1:1, and just hit this here. And then give it a little bit of agitation with this brush. Just get into all those little pockets and such. And then we'll rinse this off. And now I've already done the sides, the other pieces. There's one here, there's one here, with DIY Details trim coating. So haven't used this yet. This was sent to me by Armour for testing. Thanks, DJ. I didn't ask. It didn't come with any strings. It just was sent to me and a bunch of other people for testing. So looks like it's a 50 ml bottle, which is quite a bit. Wash trim surface using decon soap for older oxidized trim scrub. So we need to clean it first. Then we need to use panel prep to remove any oils and residue. And you're supposed to do that twice. Then prime the applicator with 3 lines to start. Each subsequent application will only need a small amount. A little goes a long way. Apply to one section of trim at a time. Apply using methodical circular motion. That's going to be a little hard on something like this, but anyway. We'll use Armour's panel prep, because why not? I like Armour's panel prep. I think that it works very well. It's got a great scent. Honestly, I think Armour is a pretty solid line overall. I will say I was pretty bummed to hear that they're no longer going to be at the House of Rags, but they are currently there. So if you are looking for some, House of Rags, directly on ADS. There's some other places that carry it as well. Let this all dry. And then let's take a look. Trim coating. So it is black, similar to like DIY Details trim coating. And grab some gloves. Let's give this a chance to dry. Spray it a second time. All right, so we're going to start off with this section here. They give you these applicators. They're made by Autofiber. I think they are anyway. They look just like the Autofiber ones, which I really like. Autofiber does have one that is not microfiber, that's more suede. I like that one better for like ceramic coatings, but for a trim coating like this, I think this is probably actually the best one. Now, because of all this texture and stuff that I have to deal with here, I'm gonna kind of put it on heavy. And then I've got a Detail Factory brush here that I've just kind of destroyed with stuff like this. And we're gonna use that to get it all in here and flatten it all out. Like that. So that is one thing I wish somebody could figure out, because every time I've ever tried to apply a trim coating, it's always been to plastic that's textured like this, or it's usually been to plastic that's textured like this. So an applicator that could actually get into the nooks and crannies would be kind of nice. All right. I'm going to get, there's this piece under here. Let me get that as well. You can see the difference here. It's a pretty solid line. You know, check this out between the unprotected and protected sections. You can see how easy it is to turn this entire thing black. And got a ton of chips in the paint on this lower section, unfortunately, so looks like we're gonna end up redoing that. Here, here, here. So that kind of sucks. Looks like the primer didn't stick, even though it was etching primer and sanded down and scuffed up pretty nice. I didn't have that problem on any other pieces of trim, just this one, which is a shame because this is the hardest one to take on and off the vehicle. So let's see what it says here. Once we apply single layer coating, level using multiple towels. Let me grab another towel. So you can see the difference between, you know, here and here. All this oxidation is gone. And this is really to kind of flatten out and even out the gloss, right? So now, just get in all these little pockets and areas. Last time with DIY, I just got a little dish and I put some in the dish and then just kind of dip the brush in it, right? And that worked fairly well. But so I would say the biggest tip that I can give you if you're using this is if you're using something textured like this area that I've got here, where you've got all of these kind of peaks and valleys and different things, you definitely want to make sure you're applying it to something dry. So if you spray it ahead of time like I did, make sure you let it sufficiently dry first. And then I would say apply it heavy and level it with your towel. Plan to hit it an extra time because you might see a little pocket of oxidation that kind of comes back after you buff it off, where, you know, maybe you missed the first time. It does seem like a little goes a long way. You know, I get a little bit on this brush and I'm able to do, you know, half a dozen of these squares. It might be easier with a stiffer brush. This is a nylon. I think this is going to work well on anything like this. like the Mini Cooper wheel arches. I know those were pretty rough on my gray Mini, and I did that with DIY, and that worked very well. This has a similar kind of feeling when you're applying it to the DIY one, so if you're familiar with that, you know, this feels very similar. It's definitely another step in the right direction towards ADS becoming, you know, a complete line. So every time they add another product, it seems to be solid. So I like that. It makes them recommendable and you know, able for you to say to somebody like, hey, do you want to just have a bunch of bottles on your shelf that all match? Well, check out ADS, because they've got a bunch of products that are pretty good, and there's really nothing that's disappointing in the line, and you can get them all from one place and have all your bottles match and be from one company and all of that. You know, I think that we have a very similar thing from Mile Deep and Garage Therapy at this point, which is kind of cool to have multiples that are that way, highly recommendable like that. There are some products that are better in, I would say, each of the three lines, but you know, this is super solid, and I think in general their stuff has been pretty good to deal with. All right, I mean, check out how it looks. Nice and consistent, not shiny in all the areas, nice and well. I'm gonna put it out in the sun and let it dry, but I think overall the coverage is really good. It was easy to put on. Very, very similar to the DIY one. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know, I don't know if they're similar products or not, but the application, the installation, all of that was very similar to the DIY. I've had good longevity with the DIY, so that's not a bad thing to say. And overall, I think it looks great. So that's all I have for today. I will put a link down below to Armour trim. It's going to have to come from ADS directly, because I don't think that Thor has it anymore. But all the other, you know, a variety of the ADS products are actually really good. I do like pushing people to House of Rags to buy ADS products, because there are other brands that they carry as well that are also super solid. So it makes it easier to hit like $99 for free shipping, for example, versus trying to fill your cart. If you're looking for a couple other things from ADS that would allow you to hit that free shipping, their wheel cleaner is really solid. Their tire cleaner is really solid. I like Pilot as an interior cleaner, and I also like Hero as a rinseless wash. So those are, you know, some of my other favorite ADS products. Like I said, I thought it worked well. It was easy to apply. Not overwhelmingly strong scent. We'll see how it holds up over time. You might want a brush like this one, probably a cheaper one than a Detail Factory brush. This is kind of an expensive brush, but I had already ruined it on DIYs when I did the side pieces. So just kind of is what it is. Just applying it there, I would say apply it heavy, especially if you've got heavy oxidation. Apply it heavy and then level it out with your towel. And I think that's going to go the best. It's going to be the most efficient for you. There were a couple spots at the beginning where I kind of applied it light, and then I had to go over and hit it a second time. But yeah, so thanks DJ for sending this to me. I appreciate it. I will pass it on to somebody, not sure who, but probably when I do my secondhand detailing listing, somebody that buys something will end up getting it in their kit, along with the clean APC. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, and I hope that you're having a great day.